What if I told you that the most powerful response to disrespect is no response at all? Disrespect stings. It catches us off guard, makes our blood boil, and leaves us wondering how to react without losing ourselves. But what if you could rise above it, calm, composed, and completely in control? In this video, we're diving into powerful strategies that will help you deal with disrespect while preserving your peace and reinforcing your self-worth. Disrespect is everywhere. At work, online, in relationships. Sometimes it's loud and obvious. Other times, it's subtle, like a condescending tone or a dismissive gesture. But here's the truth, how you respond determines whether they win or you do. You don't need to fight fire with fire. You need self-respect, boundaries, and strategy. This video is about handling disrespect with wisdom, not anger. These methods will help you maintain composure, regain control, and build unshakable confidence. Let's get into it. You don't always need to speak to command respect. In fact, sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is say nothing at all. It's simple, no words, no expression, just direct, unwavering eye contact. This isn't about confrontation or trying to look intimidating. It's about presence. It's about power. Because people who are disrespectful often feed on reactions. They want you flustered, angry, defensive. But when you give them nothing, that silence screams louder than any comeback. Let me paint a picture for you. The speaker recalls sitting in a meeting where a colleague repeatedly interrupted him, sarcastic comments, passive jabs. Everyone noticed. But instead of getting flustered or firing back, he paused, turned his head, and just stared. Calmly. Unblinkingly. No emotion. No anger. Just presence. The colleague shifted uncomfortably. The room went silent. He never interrupted again. Why does this work? Because it makes the disrespectful person see themselves. Most people don't expect to be looked at, really looked at, in the moment of their worst behavior. It holds up a mirror. And most people don't like what they see. Practice this in small ways. Next time someone tries to poke at you, pause. Breathe, then look. Calm. Present. No need to match their energy. Just hold your own. Remember, you don't win by reacting louder. You win by showing you're unshakable. The silent stare. It says everything without saying a word. Sometimes, the strongest move is no move at all. Let's be real, when someone disrespects you, every part of you wants to react. You want to clap back, defend yourself, prove them wrong. But here's the secret, silence isn't weakness, it's control. When you go quiet, you're not surrendering. You're choosing peace. And that choice, it flips the script. Picture this, the speaker used to work with someone who made subtle jabs. Nice of you to show up on time today, or interesting idea. I guess. It was bait. Every single time. But one day, he just stopped taking it. The person dropped a snide remark, and he said, nothing. No sigh, no roll of the eyes. Just calm. And the jabber looked confused. Because the power play failed. There was no energy to feed off of. Silence forces the other person to sit with their own behavior. It removes the oxygen from their fire. And most importantly, it keeps you in control of your emotional space. Ask yourself, is this worth my energy? Because energy is a currency, and not everyone deserves a withdrawal. You don't have to be silent forever, just long enough to show that their words have no grip on you. No reaction. No reward. They'll either change their tone, or they'll move on to someone else who gives them what they want. So next time someone throws shade, remember, silence isn't ignoring. It's mastery. Master yourself, and they lose their power. How many times have you changed your plans, or your dreams? Because you didn't want to explain them? Here's the truth, people love to question your life choices. Not out of love. Not out of genuine interest. But to measure you against their expectations. And the moment you start explaining, you hand them the measuring tape. You owe no one an explanation for living your truth. You don't need a debate to justify your haircut, your career change, your spiritual path, or who you love. None of it. When someone asks, "Why are you doing that?" you can simply say, "Because it feels right." Or even better, "Because I wanted to." That might sound blunt. But it's not rude, it's clear. The speaker tells of a moment when he changed industries and faced endless questions from family and friends. Why would you leave a stable job? Isn't that a step down? For a while, he answered each question in detail. But it never made a difference. People just moved on to the next critique. So finally, he said, "Because I chose to." And that was the end of it. You don't exist to be understood by everyone. You exist to be fulfilled. And often, explaining yourself is just a disguised attempt to be accepted. But your peace isn't up for negotiation. Stop handing people the pen to write your story. Own your choices. Live unapologetically. You don't need approval to live a life that makes you proud. Some people just don't deserve a front row seat in your life. And that's not bitterness. That's wisdom. There are people, friends, coworkers, even family, who will chip away at your peace with constant criticism, passive comments, or subtle disrespect. You don't have to call them out. You don't have to cause a scene. You simply need to step back. The speaker shares a personal story about a longtime friend. They had history. They shared memories. But lately, every conversation felt like a courtroom. The friend always had something negative to say. "You sure about that? Must be nice to live in your own world." Eventually, he realized, this wasn't friendship. It was erosion. So he started creating space. He answered less frequently. Chose his peace over proximity. And guess what? His confidence grew. His anxiety dropped. That distance gave him perspective, and peace. Not everyone deserves access to your emotional core. Sometimes, love means loving from a distance. Respect doesn't always mean staying close, it means knowing when closeness is costing you your self-worth. Ask yourself, what am I allowing by staying close? If the answer is anxiety, tension, or self-doubt, it's time to pull back. Distance is not cruelty. It's clarity. You don't have to burn bridges. But you're allowed to build fences. Because protecting your peace isn't selfish, it's survival. Disrespect is designed to make you shrink. But the moment you hold your head high, everything changes. Confidence is the invisible armor that protects you from other people's projections. It's not about being loud or proving a point. It's about walking into a room and knowing, you belong here. No matter what they say. No matter how they look at you. You'll notice something powerful. Disrespect hits differently when you believe in yourself. It bounces off. Because you're not depending on someone else's approval to feel valuable. The speaker shares how, early in his career, he used to slouch, avoid eye contact, speak too softly, all because he felt like he had to earn respect. But the moment he started carrying himself with dignity, chin up, voice steady, presence grounded, everything shifted. People began treating him differently. Not because they changed, because he did. So start with the basics. Stand tall. Make eye contact. Speak clearly. Smile when you feel like it. Don't shrink. Don't apologize for existing. Your posture tells the world what you believe about yourself. Let it say this, I am enough. You don't need to fight to earn respect. Sometimes, the boldest statement is simply showing up, and holding your head high. Because when you do, disrespect loses its aim. It can't land on someone who knows exactly who they are. Disrespect is inevitable, but how you respond defines your strength. You don't need to react, explain, or shrink to earn your worth. Stand still. Stand tall. Set your boundaries with grace. Because your peace is priceless, and your self-respect is non-negotiable. Walk away, not in anger, but in power.